Hey everyone! Thanks for joining us on the Seesaw Project. We are glad you're here. If it's your first time at the Seesaw Project, let me tell you a little bit about us. We are a project started by 3 working artists to be able to connect with one another, with art lovers like you across the country in this age of not having any festivals. So we're glad you're here. I'm Chris Dahlquist from Kansas City, Missouri. I make photographic-based mixed media, and I'll show you a piece of my work. Looks a little something like this. And I want to introduce you to my collaborators. First off, let me introduce you to my good friend, Miss Kina Crow.
Hi, Chris.
Hi,
everybody. I'm Kina Crow. I'm a mixed media artist and sculptor from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is my work. Highly inappropriate comment girl and her shoes for every occasion. That's me. It's another self-portrait. Welcome. Thanks so much for coming. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we have in store for you tonight. Got to look at my notes because there's so much. First, we have a really scrumptious cocktail pairing from writer, editor, and extra cute human Steph Keelan. And then we're also going to have a segment that we call Seesaw Surfs the Web. And we're going to share this really awesome video with you guys that features 3 multidisciplinary, artists from Kansas City who kind of share some deep insights into what it takes to make artwork. And then we have some shout outs to some of our artist friends, some artists that we really love and admire, and we think you will too. And if you don't know them, this is going to be a perfect opportunity to see some of their work. And then there's the cherry on top for this episode, which is our guest artist, Scott Hildebrandt, aka Mr. Christmas. And Scott is a Denver area based sculptor who makes the most little enchanting, magical, mesmerizing worlds that kind of just have some of that Christmas magic to them. So it's going to be awesome. You guys are going to love it. And now it's time for me to introduce you to the third piece of our puzzle, our other co-host, Beth Bojarski.
Hi, everyone. Hi, girls. I'm Beth Bojarski, an oil painter in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We don't have the snow like you do in Pennsylvania, Kina, but it's cold. Here's a sample of one of my paintings that I thought was fitting for this weather. Max, it's called Polar Plunge. Thank you, Max. As a reminder, before we get into tonight's episode, the comment section is a big part of the show. If you have questions or comments or a New Year's resolution that you want to share with us or our guest, Scott Hildebrand, post them there. Also, the names and links to artists that are mentioned in tonight's show will be added in the comment section as well. As this is our last episode of the season, it's even more important to subscribe to our YouTube channel or like Seesaw Project on Facebook. We will continue to post content and news about what will be happening in 2021. So with that, I want to introduce the man behind the scenes, our producer, Max Crow. Max, I have a question for you. Have you ever done a polar plunge?
Yeah, yes, I have. Yeah, every year at summer camp.
Love it. It's a
summer camp
in Milwaukee. So, wait, summer camp?
I know, it doesn't count.
No, they just dump bags of ice in the pool. So. All right. Hi, everybody.
Thanks, Max.
That's a big part of our winters here, and that's a big thing in Milwaukee. So I was curious. You never know.
I would not want to do that.
Speaking of cold, I can't wait for tonight's cocktail pairing. I was just reminiscing with my mom and my dad last night. The cocktail holiday parties we used to have, my parents would get that boozy ice cream drink and they'd all go into a part of the house and play spoons and drink ice cream drinks. And the kids would beg them, can we have some of those ice cream drinks? And oh no, this is for adults only. So I couldn't be happier that our friend and talented writer, Steph Keelan, has served one up to celebrate Mr. Christmas. Max, if you could run tonight's cocktail pairing.
Hi friends, Steph Keelan here with the Seesaw Project Cocktail Pairing. This week, we're celebrating the wonder and vintage vibe of Scott Hildebrandt, aka Mr. Christmas, with a ice cream drink. I'm screaming. Are you screaming? This concoction I'm calling Cocoa for Mr. Christmas. So to spare you all the noise of all the blender and the horrific, I have this all made up already. What I've got in here is a pint of vanilla ice cream, a handful of ice, 3 ounces of coconut rum, and 1.5 ounces of creme de cacao. You can vary those booze amounts depending on how your holiday is going. So you just whirl it all up until it's nice and smooth, and there you go. Because you are on Santa's nice list, you're going to share, so get yourself a couple nice holiday glasses, some whipped cream for the top, maybe some chocolate syrup, some coconut flakes. But I'm on Santa's other list. So cheers, Scott Hildebrandt and all y'all. Thanks so much for celebrating with me this year. Happy holidays.
That looks delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you're on the naughty list, Beth, that you're not sharing?
I'm pretty sure I'm probably on every list, so whatever kind of list there is.
I think we should endeavor to be on the nice list. And according to Steph, that means we need to share. So let's share a screen with our featured artist and bring on Scott.
Yay! Hi, Scott.
Hi, guys.
Welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you here.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Are you and Beth in the same house?
Yeah. I'm like, hi, Kina. How you doing? Hi, Beth. How are you?
Well, we wanted to bring Scott in to join in all of our fun. And one of the things we do every week is we put out a question, Ask a Collector. And we asked a question last week. What is your favorite handmade holiday decoration? And okay, so we got, hi, Lauren Denton. Gloves, a mask, I voted sticker, a roll of toilet paper, a dangling virus, and a bottle of Corona beer. I love this 2020 ornament. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Rob Allenbach bought this from an artist at a Chicago show about 20 years ago. That's wonderful. And Betty Lou Wilkins Johnson. This is a ceramic manger scene that my mother made in the 50s and always displayed at her home at Christmas. I love this so much. I love seeing it in my home each year too. It's very special to me. I love that. Thank you. And from Audrey Heller, when I was a kid, I had a beloved neighbor sitter who made beautiful things. She made our birthday cakes. She made dioramas and carved eggshells. She made magic with white glue and fabric scraps. When this partridge in a pear tree emerges from the closet, I know it's holiday season. Yay! Thank you.
And that manger scene, you might not have recognized the name, but that's my mother. So that was my maternal grandmother that made that.
Oh,
so
that's so cool.
Grew up with that in my house. Yes.
That is super, super cool. So we shared ours last week, and we actually posed this question, to Scott. So what about yours? Well, I know it's something special.
Sure. One of my special holiday handmade traditions actually is a little different than what you would typically think. I actually deal a little bit more in the lighting side of things. So there's a little video that might explain it a little bit more. Max, could you roll it? So every year, I put the sign out that says tune your radio to 88.3. And all you have to do is drive up in front of my house, tune your radio in, and sit back and enjoy the light show. So all of my Christmas lights, all of my decorations are synced to music. Each blow mold, each strand of light is connected to a computer and is syncopated to 5 different Christmas songs. And you kind of get this neat little vintage light show, and it's really fun. I've been doing it for probably about 15 years, and I've never gotten tired of it. It's really kind of taken on a whole world of its own. There's the good old Rudolph up there in the tree. There's a couple blow molds of Santa Claus, and there's good old Snoopy sitting right there. We've even got a fox in the tree and some snowmen. And if you watch long enough, you'll see some little pieces that you haven't seen before, like a dog in the back of the truck. There's a llama on top of my mailbox. It's just kind of fun to add these little quaint pieces to the scene.
I love that. Those are the kind of houses I seek out.
Yes.
I revealed in the last episode. I love that kind of over the top Christmas.
I'm kind of the Clark Griswold of my neighborhood. So
When do they start going out? How soon do you?
I start to put them out right after Halloween, and I get my neighbors and friends that start driving by asking, when are you going to put up the lights? When do we get to see the show? So I try to add something new and special every year just to give it a little bit of extra fun. But I usually start sometime right before Thanksgiving, and it's fun to watch people stop and they'll be parked out in front of the house, and they'll kind of watch lights for a little bit, cycle through the songs. It's really fun when it's snowing because it adds to it. But that's a tradition that's been in my family for years, is putting up lights and going and seeing the lights. So that's my handmade tradition.
Love it, love it. So just a simple ride to Colorado will...
Right. Yeah. Whether you're a state or two away, it's just a small drive. If you're interested, just message me and I'll give you my address if you're in the Denver metro area. And I run it every night from like 6 to 10. It's kind of fun.
I love it. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that video. I love that. We do have a question then for next week that we will be asking a collector. That question is, what is your favorite part of Seesaw project? Kina, what is your favorite part?
So, I mean, that's tricky. That's a hard question. I love the cocktail pairings. I do. I think they're so fun. I think she's so cute. And they're, I think I've made almost all of them. And this one, oh my God, this one's going to kill me. So many calories, so delicious. But I think some of the, the artist videos, the featured artist videos, I always really, really love those. When Beth made hers, when I first saw that, I was laughing so hard. I was rolling around on the floor laughing. And then John Whipple's, I was crying. So, I mean, a whole host of emotions, but I would have to say those two things are my favorite. What about, I know Scott's been watching, and thank you so much for watching, Scott. What's yours? What would you say?
So honestly, I was thinking about that, and it really, to me, what embodies Seesaw is really the hosts. You three guys make it so fun and so enjoyable, especially at this time of year, but throughout this year with what we've all had to deal with. It's fun to watch and hear your banter and hear your relationship through the way you guys talk. And it really makes it enjoyable to come back every other week. I've been watching since the first episode and commenting and oogling and crying over the same videos that you have, Kina. I mean, it's just really magical, though, to hear how you guys interpret and how you present featured artists and other artists as well too. It really is my favorite part of Seesaw.
So sweet and so nice of you, but I can't stand these bitches. No.
That's the best part.
Think that was going to be a little heavy there. That's nice that you, yeah.
Right, and the check's in the mail, Scott.
Right.
Let's see.
So Beth, what's your favorite part of Seesaw?
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for that. I think I'm going to probably play off that a little more. And number one, I know what day of the week it is. There were a lot of times where before this I wouldn't, because all the days looked alike. So at least I know that. And there's twice a month that I actually put on some clothes and a little bit of mascara. That's nice. But it has been the reaching out that we've had to do, whether the three of us meeting up to coordinate things or reaching out to other artists that I haven't seen the whole year to gather the info for shout outs or, talk about featured videos and stuff. It's sorely missed this year, and it has really helped and been an absolute gift. So that's been fantastic. Chris, what about you?
So for sure, the community aspect of it. I mean, community is so important to me. And it feels like we've built a community that transcends distance, where before we would just see each other a few times a year, and now we've got mechanisms for that. But I think also this intense collaborative process. For visual artists, a lot of the work we do is so solitary that to endeavor together. I've always been kind of jealous of Kyle as a musician or a performer, the collaborative nature of his practice. And so this feels like an extension of my practice into this collaboration. So couldn't be happier to collaborate with y'all. And beyond that, I think it's really exciting to see all of the artists, including myself, like stretching into this new medium and learning alongside one another and helping one another build these skills to present online and creating videos, and feels like we're all growing and stretching together and taking risk. Typically, the work is complete before we present it in our booth. And so people are getting to see a little more of the process, which feels a little risky and a little vulnerable. So that's exciting to me. But talking about risk and vulnerability, I found a video that describes that risk and vulnerability better than I can here. It was put together by an organization here in Kansas City and features some dear, dear friends in Kansas City. So again, it's this community coming together. So Max, can we play our Surfs the Web?
If you play it safe, you will be forgotten. That's it. And what are you saying?
I think a huge risk with being an artist is you're always faced with doubts, right? Whether it's self-doubts or doubts from all around you.
I think you have to be a really strong person on the inside to be able to present your own work. Because, there is the risk of people hating it. And you just have to have a tough skin, I think. You kind of have to get over that fear of the risk of it and just do it. The things that you have to portray, you have to dig deep inside you to be able to do that. It can be scary, but it's always worth the risk, because better art comes out of being vulnerable and telling a story the best that you can tell it.
Oftentimes it can feel very personal, especially my work deals with, my experience, my family, like how it's my perspective to the world. So it can feel a little daunting, a little scary sometimes putting your work out there. I thrive on stress. So I work really well with deadlines. So I love that like stress of hitting that deadline. So I think risk to me is a motivating force. And I love it when like I'm trying some new technique and I'm just not quite sure what that image is going to look like. And you won't know until all the process is done and then you lift up the paper and see what happens. I love that risk. I embrace that risk within my own work. I embrace the mistakes. I embrace like when things just doesn't go quite right. But when it doesn't go quite right, it allows you to kind of try something new that you might not otherwise expect. It's definitely necessary, and it's also kind of exciting when you're not sure what's going to happen. So, terrible for investment, but
just enough wrong to be right is a phrase that I've heard a lot and that I like to use. And so there is this refinement, but then there's this thing that makes it human, that makes it vulnerable, that makes it scary, that makes it so that people pay me and they pay other artists to do the things that they're not willing to do themselves.
Arts bring joy, they bring beauty, they bring truth to people through something that is so much more than words can express. It's through movement, and so people can kind of get their own ideas from it and pull what they think it means and kind of make it meaningful to them.
I think with my music, my main goal is to destigmatize the human experience. I mean, being human is messy and it's okay. And so I think when I'm on stage, that is the message that I want to live and embody it. I've heard it said that if you can talk about something, then you can manage it. And so I like to talk about things that are a little bit taboo, but in a really fun and playful way. I hope that my music allows people to manage their own emotions in a way that's healthy, rather than avoiding and evading them. I just follow the muses wherever they take me, and I have a lot of fun doing it. I can't wait. I need a hit. Baby, give me. You're dangerous. I think the risk is what makes art entertaining, and what makes it impactful. And the more risk that you kind of bottle up into a moment or into a concise piece, the more exciting it is. It's terrifying every day to be an artist. In another sense, it is the most freeing thing. Knowing or believing and having faith that the universe and the powers that be will take care of you when you're doing the thing you're supposed to do. And I have continually seen people impacted by my work so much so that I can't think of doing anything else.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So if you want to know more about any of those artists, Kyle's going to drop links in the comments about Calvin, Kathy, and Alexandra.
Yeah, it's such a timely video, Chris, that you presented here, because we were just talking about that, what it means, what the Seesaw project has meant, that risk of putting something like this on We were also nervous and apprehensive. Calvin said it's terrifying. Kina, have you gotten over it being terrifying? It's that element of risk that every artist feels. It's a life of questioning and experimenting and putting yourself out there. It's scary and exciting. So thanks again, Chris.
Mm-hmm. And thanks to everyone for coming along on that road with us of experimenting and not knowing if any of this is going to work, right? From week to week, we don't know if it's going to work.
Right.
My mom loved that.
That's great.
So we have more. We have more for you. Now we are ready for a new round of artists that we admire and are inspired by. We have a new round of Seesaw shoutouts. Max, if you could play that for us.
Hi, my name is Morgan Whitson. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'd like to give a shout out to my friend and mentor, Gregory Story of Modern Clay. He's a ceramic artist in Chicago, Illinois.
Hey everybody, Mark here. I am currently storing a Tom Wargen sculpture in my studio, and I've been telling people that I made it, and they all go, no you didn't. You're not that good. But you should go check him out. He's that good.
Oh, hello. Check out my friends, Signe and Gena Grushevenko. They are a brilliant collaborative team working in Greenville, South Carolina.
Yay! That was a good batch. Really good. Thank you so much.
I love the moment Patricia just says, "Oh, hello," like we snuck up on her. Like, what are you doing here?
Masterpiece Theater.
People in that. And I mean, first of all, who doesn't love Gregory's balls? I have a pair of Gregory's balls. I know Chris does. No, they're so cool. They're so fun. I love them because you can space them out. Like you can do your own thing with them. And make them fit anywhere. So thank you, Gregory. Thanks for sending those images. And Thomas Wargen, like I've been a huge fan of his for years. It's it's not just like really beautiful. It's super thought provoking. Oh, So jealous.
Right?
Jelly bean sandwich.
It happens to be sitting right there. It just happens to be right there.
But also like the Signe and Genna, the Grushevenkos, I love everything that they do. I feel like everybody can see themselves or a piece of their life in there, something that they recognize and like take them back to a time. I love the ones that she does or that they do with the 70s. For some reason, there's one that sticks in my mind a lot, but they're so nostalgic, but they're still really, really modern. So anyway, yay. Thank you guys so much. And if some of these artists are new to you and you want to check them out a little more thoroughly, their contact information is in our comments. So do that. And now,
let's also shout out to Beth for putting that together for every
I did it at the beginning, but maybe you didn't hear me.
episode.
And Mark Winter as well. Mark Winter is a huge part of it.
Yeah, so taking all those images and putting them together in those fantastic videos. And
I enjoyed. I get to spend a lot of time with each artist and just dig through their websites, and it's been fantastic. So, yeah,
awesome. Well, now it's time to take a little bit deeper look at our guest, Mr. Scott Hildebrandt, aka Mr. Christmas, and we have a video that we were we got permission to share, and this is not a video that Scott made. It's a little bit different. So can you tell us like how it came to exist and a little bit about it?
Sure. So a couple of years ago, at one of my shows, actually, I was approached by the director of the Rocky Mountain PBS chapter here in Colorado. So and she asked if I would be interested in telling my story. And I wasn't quite sure what that meant. And she hooked me up with one of her video producers. And Alexis, I met her, Alexis Cocon, and her and I had a great conversation. And then she just came to my studio, and it was almost like a natural conversation having with somebody as she videotaped me. And it was the story of in the background of what I do and how I came to be this artist, aka Mr. Christmas. And it was wonderful. I never expected to have a piece on this little documentary through Rocky Mountain PBS, and it was just wonderful. And it's
awesome. Well,
where it's gone.
Everybody see.
Yes,
Okay.
Max.
Max will do it.
Yay!
The way people react to my art is different and fun and priceless all at the same time. When they see that the pieces light up, and then it's fun to see their faces light up, and I see their imagination light up, and it's really kind of a fun thing to sit back and watch. It's really such a humbling experience to hear people tell me about how it moves them and the feelings that it invokes in them. There's nothing in the world like it. It feels wonderful. My name is Scott Hildebrandt, and I'm a miniature artist, and I work with repurposing old clocks, cameras, radios, and TVs. I would say over the last 10 years, I've probably built close to about maybe 3,000 pieces, all different shapes and sizes. Nothing is really off limits.
This is actually airplane salvage. So this is an old wheel cover from an old landing gear, an old Cessna 182.
The love of miniatures probably started when I was close to 6 or 7. My grandfather used to put up his old train set from when he was a boy. And I just remember being in awe of how beautiful it was and how it ran and all the little miniatures that went with it. And I was just fascinated with it. And as I got older, I would build models, and I loved the scale of trying to recreate these scenes in miniature format. Like this is an old hardback case. There's a little switch on the bottom. It makes them portable so you can put them somewhere, but you can open it up and have a nice little display. So,
Oh my God.
Mr. Christmas is a term or a name that was given to me probably about 10 years ago when I first started doing this.
It's very creative what you've done.
Thank you. I appreciate
Beautiful work.
I focused on vintage Christmas pieces, and my first piece that I ever made actually was a little Christmas village that was under glass. People took interest in that style of art, and so I just sort of absorbed the name Mr. Christmas. I would describe the personality of my work as more whimsical. I think miniatures in general reminds adults of that same imagination that sometimes you repress and put away. And it brings you back to a really good place in your life that you remember when you were younger. And it's almost like a safe place, and it creates these warm memories that people love.
Where do you source your antiques?
I go to a lot of estate sales and flea markets, garage sales. A real interesting weekend for me is thrifting. A fun weekend like that will turn into fun weeks of finding these pieces and then getting a chance to build into them. This poor clock stopped working, the motor burned out, so I'm going to repurpose the face. I never put people inside of my artwork. I feel like the scene itself creates a wonder or mystery, and I want the focus to be on the quaintness of the scene itself, and that you can imagine yourself maybe there. The thing that really inspires me to continue with my art is the ability to create something that connects people together. And it's also a very endearing challenge to me to be able to create something that I can imagine. There's nothing more satisfying than to be able to complete something that you've thought about. It's just such a form of accomplishment, and it's so satisfying that it kind of makes me feel complete as an artist.
Do you title all your pieces?
I try to.
What would you call it?
A clear sunset. I can't imagine not doing it. It's part of my life, and it's really part of who I am.
Scott has already made a name for himself, despite being relatively new to the art scene.
That's right. In 2016, he won the Best in Show at the Cherry Creek Arts Festival, which is huge. You can see more of his work at local Colorado markets or online at clevermrchristmas.com.
I love that name.
What'd you think? Pretty great, huh? I love that. I could watch it over and over and over and over again.
Right? And it won some awards, right?
Yes.
I won a prize, right?
Or two. Yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
So that piece specifically, the video producer won an Emmy for that. An actual Emmy.
It's a good one. It's a good prize.
I was so shocked when she told me, and I got to watch it as she was presented it on TV. So
that is so cool. Well, I mean,
I think so, but I like to think, I was a proud father. I was like, oh, that's.
Well, I'm a huge fan, and I love everything that you say about that. Obviously, you like to light stuff up. Like your yard and these little these things and people's faces, and I totally agree with you that miniatures do something to that childhood memory. And I'm old enough that when I was a kid, there were department stores with windows where there would be Christmas displays and all these miniatures, and then it's like the little kids, your faces were just like pressed up against the glass. But I'm lucky enough, I have to show everybody. Oh, this is so funny. But anyway, so there is a VW, and he's been pulled over by a cop car, and there's a tiny miniature pig in the corner. I love it.
Yes,
I love this stuff.
Yes, there is. I remember that piece.
I love this notion of people being able to place themselves in the story or in the narrative without, putting humans in the scene. So when you start making the piece, do you know what the narrative is when you start? Do you know?
No.
Or how's that work?
So sometimes it begins with just a concept, whether it's an experience that I've had, a place that I've been, a vacation, a trip, a movie that I've seen. And I start with a base piece of that, so to speak. So, for example, with Kina's piece, that's an old kitchen clock from the 50s. And as soon as I take all the old clock pieces out, I know exactly kind of how much room I have to work with. And then I come up with a concept. I thought it'd be fun to do like an old VW, like a hipster kid getting pulled over by an old hick cop in a small rural town. And, from there, as I start to put these pieces together, I'm like, it'd be really cool is if the cop car had the light flashing like the old cop's car did. And it would be great to have the Volkswagen headlights on because he's pulled, he's either zipping by or he's pulled over. And that's where people's imaginations take over and they start to formulate their own story. And that's what I love. And then the cherry on the top is, again, I never put people in my pieces. I really feel like it's your ability to create your own story without seeing an actual person. You can imagine yourself there or a different person, but the cherry on the top is that little pig, at the very end.
You say that because I never, of all the pieces, I've seen many, many, many of your pieces because we always go running to your booth as soon as we're like, usually there's a line, to get in there. I never noticed that there weren't any people.
Right.
I guess you're right. Like I'm already in there.
Right. That's the fun part is trying to give people the ability to think about that. Sometimes some of my pieces come from dreams that I have. It's very rare that I remember a dream. And actually, I have a piece. Do you mind if I share it with you?
Oh, no, please.
This is a piece that I made recently of a dream that I have. So I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to be careful. So this is an old sand toy, an old tin truck, like an old Tonka truck from the 50s. And on it, there is a scene of a little garage, if you can kind of see.
Yeah.
And they're welding inside of there, and it's kind of a junky old truck. And then in the back, there is a forest. And I thought it would be fun to add kind of like a dueling banjo of fireflies that are communicating to the flickering of the welding going on in the garage, which is kind of fun.
I love that.
So the quaintness of it is adding nobody whatsoever, maybe a deer or two, but just the ability of you thinking that there are fireflies that are talking
and the moon
welder in the front.
That's so cool.
That's the fun part.
That is so cool.
I think it's beyond not putting humans, but evidence of them allows a place to enter it as the viewer, right? Like that there's humans in there,
right?
Because of the flickering or whatever, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm kind of introducing the thought of you to create your own narrative, and I follow a lot of miniature artists, and they follow me, and it's kind of fun. I love to see how they interpret miniature art, and they add people, and I love what they do. But for me specifically, I've noticed that distracts from my eye. I go straight to the person holding a cup of coffee or whatever. But to add an empty scene gives it a little more to the imagination, so to speak.
No, they are fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about Meow Wolf? I don't know or who can explain it. I wouldn't be good to explain it, but
sure. So over the last 3 years, I've actually been working with a group called Meow Wolf. A lot of you might be familiar with Meow Wolf of Santa Fe, the House of Eternal Darkness, and it is an experience. And to describe it, a lot of people have asked me, well, what exactly is Meow Wolf? I'm like, well, if you could take Casa Bonita and It's a Small World and follow that together, you would have that experience. It's experiential art. You actually get to walk through it, and it takes you into a whole different dimension. It's wonderful. They have created the ability for different places around the country. Denver is one of them. They're creating an installation in Denver. Las Vegas, they just opened.
Right.
but I was approached about 3 years ago to be a collaborating artist for Denver Meow Wolf. And so I will be participating. I know. This is a whole nother reason to come to Colorado. So,
and what kind of timeline is that on, Scott? Do you know
Yeah, so-
when it's supposed to open, or?
Yeah, so believe it or not, the timeline is exactly the same as they've been advertising, and it's late 2021 is when they will be opening up. So really, it seems like it's a whole year from now, which it is, but it's going to go quick. I think 2021, once we get 2020 away from us, 2021 is going to go a lot quicker, and it's going to be more exciting and full of adventure. And Meow Wolf Denver is going to be an awesome opportunity for you to wet your whistle with your imagination. So yeah, it's coming up quick, and I'm so excited and so honored to be part of it.
Oh, so I'm just daydreaming about the possibility of just, it's almost like it feels, or I imagine it to be like we can just become miniature and enter and just go right into one of your sculptures, right?
I'm working on that.
I don't know, but I think we should make a plan and all go together. I think it'd be really fun.
Field trip.
Done.
Seesaw field trip. The first ever Seesaw field trip.
Sign up now in the comment section.
We'll make a documentary.
Super large bus that holds like 650 people.
Well, there is a secret that the Seesaw trio has taken a field trip. We went, before we were Seesaw, we went for a week together to New Orleans to do some imagining
awesome
of where we were going to head artistically.
Yeah.
So
Denver would be a great place.
Right? We've been trying to figure out where our next retreat is going to be. So solved.
We have plenty of room. Come on down.
You know what? The other thing is, Scott, I realized when I'm looking at a bunch of your stuff, I have an antique bubblegum machine for you. It wouldn't occur to me that you would put one of those in there, but I'm totally sending it to you.
Please,
it's like
opening a ship in a bottle.
Stand and everything. It's really cool with the red.
That's actually something I was wondering. Is do people see this great work and then do they make piles for you? And Scott, and pass off some gems.
That's for me, commission work is kind of an endearing piece to me, because when people approach me, the first thing I ask is do they have something in their family that is kind of off to the corner that used to be their grandparents or their parents that means a lot to them, that really isn't anything other than just a nostalgic piece that they've held on to. And I'm like, if the radio doesn't work anymore, if you let me take the piece out, I can build something inside of that, and it's a piece that will continue on with them.
So cool.
It becomes an heirloom. So it's really fun with that opportunity. So yes, to answer your question, Beth, I get a lot of people that say, hey, listen, I've got most of what I acquire. I do go to a lot of estate sales and flea markets, but enough people know what I do that before they throw things away, they say, hey, can you repurpose this? Can you use this? And I'm like, I'd love to. And it's not specific to any decade or era or time period. I've been building into pieces from the late 1900s all the way to the 1980s. And it's fun because it invokes that nostalgic factor that everybody loves. Plus you have that added bonus surprise inside with that little miniature that lights up. So
I love that picture of you as a little boy. And I'm like, just picturing you, like, this is how you entertain yourself.
Right. My friend sent that to me.
I want to point out, Scott, that you're getting a lot of love in the comments. Mandy and Andrea are swooning over the work.
Thank you.
And we do have another question from Mandy. It says, how did you start on this path as an artist?
So it really, the art of miniatures, and it speaks to that a little bit in the video, but I've always appreciated model making, setting up my train with my grandfather, but all of that kind of got set aside as life continues. And I'm honestly never really considered myself an artist until about 12 years ago. I built a small piece. I wanted to make a unique gift, believe it or not, for my girlfriend. And I built this little Christmas scene under glass, and I lit it up, and she loved it. And from there, it's been evolving into repurposing and really kind of getting into more detailed model making. And that's kind of brought out the child inside of me. When I was a kid, I always wanted my models to come to life. I wanted the wheels to turn. I wanted the headlights to work. I wanted the propellers to move. And that, as I got older, I was able to do. I was able to actually recreate that into this hobby that actually turned into my full-time career as an artist. And that whole video that you played about risk is completely my story about actually putting something out there that I've always been scared about putting out to the public, and receiving encouragement and accolades, kind of what you guys do when you bring new artists in and you show people new work. That has given me the inspiration to do what I do. And that's every year I feel like I evolve, and I look forward to it. Actually, I think as an artist, you should be evolving. That every year you should look at what you've learned from that past year and how you should apply that to what you want to do. And that creates the fire that makes the passion that builds what you want to accomplish going forward.
It's an obsession.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be kind of, right?
Yeah. I love the reflecting back on the new year, because we are going to have a lightning round question that talks about the new year. But before we do that, we want to be sure that you get the chance to tell people when they want to see more, where do they go, Scott?
Sure. No. So this year, for me and probably a lot of other artists, we have had to pivot. A lot of show cancellations, a lot of reimagining how to get your art to the public. Seesaw has been very pivotal to that, but also social media. I've turned to Instagram. One of my first shows at the beginning of the year was canceled as soon as I set up for it.
Remember that.
Right, because of the pandemic. And on our way home, we had to rethink how we want to approach this year, not knowing what to expect. Nobody knew what to expect. I put everything that I had built for that particular art show, I put it on my Instagram account and I put it up for sale. Within 24 hours, I sold everything and more. And it was overwhelming to get that type of support from the social media group. So I really like to point people towards social media, because I think that's a good reflection of kind of what you can see without being there in person. So my Instagram account is pretty simple. It's my name. And it's when you think of Mr. Christmas, instead of the MR dot, it's the old fashioned spelling, MRISTER, Mr. Christmas, all one word. MISTER, Mr. Christmas, all one word. And then Instagram, but you can also see my Facebook page as well too there.
And we'll drop that in the comments as well.
Right. Thanks, Beth.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us as we kind of wrap up the season. Perfect ender to have you, Scott, Mr. Christmas. Thank you.
I'm very honored to be part of the show. I've been watching since the first episode, and I really appreciate you guys letting me be a part of this. I'm totally geeking out about it.
We are too.
But wait, we're not done. We have a lightning round question that we want to go into New Year's. Let's talk about New Year's. So our lightning round question is, do you have a New Year's tradition? And so I'm going to kick it to Kina. Kina.
I do, but it's really geeky. I like to I don't go anywhere. We don't really stay up late. We might go get pizza on New Year's Eve. I don't know, what I've been eating way too many carbs this year, so that probably won't happen. But I like to switch over my files on New Year's Day, and I take all my file folders with all my files and I move them to their bin, and then I get all new beautiful folders and label them with my little label maker, and I set up all of my files and books so that I'm perfectly organized for the beginning of the year. I started doing it like 10 or 12 years ago, and it makes me feel so good. It makes me feel like I'm never behind. And if I don't do it that day, I'm afraid like it's not going to happen till like June, and then everything's going to be a wreck. But I know, geeky, but it's mine. What about you, Scott?
Well, Kina, that makes me feel really bad. I'm like, I'm lucky if I find the cocktail napkin that has what I'm supposed to do and my sales totals from the end of the year. That's awesome. So for New Year's, the last few years, we've kind of gotten together as a family, shared a meal, maybe gone out and see some Christmas lights before people turn them off, and really kind of just spent time specifically with family and together. This year, though, we are going to try for the first time a Zoom game night. So we're going to try to get maybe 20 or 30 of us all on Zoom and maybe try Pictionary, have half of this screen and the other half trying to guess what you're drawing type of thing in the chat. I don't know. We haven't figured it out yet, but we're going to try. So
let us know if it works.
I will. I promise. It might be crazy, but we'll see. I'll take some video. So what about you, Beth? What's your
all right, here we go. We New Year's Eve, we set up the living room and we block all the light out of the room and we celebrate New Year's Eve. But it rolls right into New Year's Day and we call it movie day, and we've done it for years. You pretty much wake up in the living room with everything's there for you. You've got your food, you've got your coolers of refreshments. Friends start coming over if they aren't still there, and everyone's in the jammies, and all day, all night, you nap when you want to, watch movies, eat. It's very slothish.
Who picks the movies?
Yeah,
there's only one that's been a staple, and it's Spinal Tap, which is Spinal Tap gets played, but we do let everyone suggest a movie, and it's kind of, we've booed some, and and sometimes movie day is movie week or movie month, but that's here nor there. It's fun. Chris?
So New Year's Eve is kind of difficult for us to have a tradition. Kyle's a performer, a musician, and so he's often working on New Year's, right? When you're the entertainer, a lot of times when everyone else is partying, you are the entertainment. So sometimes I go to that, sometimes I don't. But the most enduring one is I was raised in the South, so I was raised having black-eyed peas on New Year's Day, which is purportedly brings you good luck. The problem is I don't like black-eyed peas, so I kind of start from not having good luck. But we have found a dish called Texas Caviar that is basically like a pico de gallo that's got black-eyed peas. So we get some black-eyed peas down and start our year with some good luck.
Do that. You didn't have any. Did you have some this year?
I did. Yeah, they didn't take. But I think the other thing for this year is let's talk about how we're going to move forward with Seesaw Project. So when we started Seesaw Project last summer, of course, we had no idea what we were in for, and so Beth and Kina and I committed to doing it through the end of the year. So 12 episodes that we have now produced, and then planned on getting together the first part of the year to see kind of what 2021 will hold, and see about moving forward with Seesaw Project or what that looks like to move forward. So our Ask the Collectors question about your favorite part, both we want to know, but we also want that to help inform how we move forward into 2021 with how and if we move forward in 2021 with Seesaw Project. So what's up next for Seesaw Project? Follow us on social media. We'll continue to put up artists that we admire and are inspired by. We've got some shout outs. We've got one that just came in today that we'll be posting. So we'll continue to update you on all the artists that you've gotten to know. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that if we're going to move forward, you'll know about future episodes. And of course, all the episodes that we've we've recorded so far, you can still view on YouTube. So if you've missed any of them, or if you miss us in the next few weeks, we can go back and relive our glory days. Actually, I think we can go back and see how far we've come, or how much we've grown, how much better we've gotten at this thing.
Or how hot we all were sweating that first show because it was freaking, and now it's freezing. It's, interesting.
Forgot about the sweaty days.
But thanks for coming along on this journey with us, and we look forward to seeing what's next.
We do. We do have some thank yous from tonight's episode. A special thanks to Morgan Whitson, Patricia De Leon, Mark Winter, Kyle Dalquist, Max Crow, Alexis
Cohen.
Thank you. And the Rocky Mountain PBS for the use of Scott's video. The Des Moines Arts Festival for helping promote Seesaw Project. We appreciate it. Thanks to all our generous donors. And another thank you to Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, Kelvin Arsinia, he's great, Kathy Lau, Alexandra Wilson. Thank you, all of you.
And a big thank you to our featured artist, Scott Hildebrandt, at Mr. Christmas on Instagram and clevermrchristmas.com for his website. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, guys.
And want to thank our shout out artists, Gregory Story, Tom Wargen. I don't know, is it Worgen or Wargen? I'm thinking.
You got it, Wargen.
Oh, did. Okay. And Signe and Gena Groshevenko. And I'm so proud that I can pronounce their last name. I kind of like saying it. And us, your hosts, Beth Bojarski. There's her website, bethbojarski.com. Kina Crow at kinacrow.com. Chris Dahlquist at chrisdahlquist.com. Check it out. Thank you. Thank everybody so much for tuning in and saying hi and sending pictures and
for the whole season. Everyone who's tuned in and who's joined us, we so appreciate it. We do.
Yeah, cheering us along on this journey. So let's have a final toast to our last episode.
Oh, she drank it all.
I did.
Happy New Year, everyone. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks.
Happy New Year, everyone. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Better year next year.
2021.
Okay.